What's up YouTube? Today we're gonna take a look at a very strong deck that is making a good case for being the best deck in the new emerging meta. A lot of creators and competitors have tried this deck, used it a lot for climbing and posted some incredible results. And it seems like the core shell of this deck is very settled, but there are a few tech slot options. Let me touch up on the expensive cards right away. Ghost is definitely replaceable. Most people play something like Sunspot or Nebula or Jeff instead in that slot. If you have Jeff, you can also play him over Nightcrawler. However, Zabu as well as Darkhawk are kinda key in this. And the other card that has never really seen a lot of play but is now making waves is Stature. So if you're missing Stature, you can cut both Stature and Black Bolt and maybe play more of a Serra control package. But for this specific build, all of these cards are kind of key and needed. So first of all, let me explain the core idea of this deck, and then I'll get back to the spicy Ghost tech. We are basically playing a very flexible, tempo-based deck. What does tempo mean in Marvel Snap? It's just that we discount a lot of our cards. We can make cheap but high power plays at any stage of the game. This ultimately allows us to be very flexible when playing for locations and deciding which locations to commit power to. And it makes it much harder for our opponent to play against us because they don't really have information where we are gonna devote our power to while we can react to their plays. So to do that, one of the power packages we have is Darkhawk and shuffling rocks into our opponent's deck with Korg as well as Rock Slide. The second one is a bit of movement. Polaris allows for a bit of disruption, also great against Galactus. Nightcrawler allows us to play for locations that are hard to reach, and both of these cards discount Miles Morales into a super effective 1 energy, 5 power play. But even if we don't have access to these, don't fret. Even with just the Zabu discount, Miles is a 3 energy, 5 power play, which is still fine. The third power package is Black Bolt and Stature. Black Bolt is already kind of well statted, also adds a bit of disruption, and then we can burst out a 1 energy, 7 power Stature on the final turn. Combine that with all of the other discounted cards and we have some explosive blowouts on turn 6. But what really makes this deck special is that it's not only good at putting out power numbers, but it can also react to our opponent's stuff. Enchantress is incredibly good right now. It hits a lot of cards in the current meta, and it's just generally well statted since it got buffed. At the same time, Shang Chi allows us to take care of our opponent's big threats. What can be tricky about this deck though is because we do have a bunch of power plays as well, we often end up having priority when we would prefer our opponents to reveal first so that Enchantress as well as Shang Chi can hit more targets. And this is where Ghost can come in clutch. It's incredibly good in a number of situations in the current meta. Besides making sure that Shang and Enchantress hit more targets, it also conceals our Darkhawk. If we save Darkhawk up until the final turn, our opponent has no chance to hit it with Enchantress or Shang Chi of themselves. At the same time, it's very good in Black Bolt mirrors, because usually in Black Bolt mirrors you want to be ahead, you want to have more power than your opponent going into the final turn. But if both players play Black Bolt on turn 5, the one that reveals first is at a disadvantage, because their Stature is gonna get discounted first and then be hit by the opponent's Black Bolt. But like I said, Ghost is still very much experimental. You can play a number of other tech choices instead, and either way you build this deck, it is gonna be incredibly strong. I personally used this for a large part of my climb to the infinite rank, and I did hit infinite rank with it, and it still performed well in infinite rank. And a lot of people had similar success with this archetype, so it's definitely a great choice for climbing as well as competitive play right now. Did they announce yet what day the next series drop is gonna happen? Oh, baby. Really, really hot. Okay. This is gonna be awkward. We want to play in these two locations as aggressively as possible. Gonna take an Enchantress to the face. Zabu. Let's see what we draw here. Okay, does that allow us to play Yeah, I think we're going Zabu and Miles now. We bait our opponent to stay in. Like, we're not gonna show Enchantress until the final turn. It's this, then it's Black Bolt left, and then we pop off. Oh, Black Bolt is actually a bit tricky. It might hit their swarm. So I'm not snapping back yet. Okay, we can't play Black Bolt. Ghost is kind of good. So I say we do this, and then it's Darkhawk Enchantress. It's like a snapback. They don't have Dracula yet, but they will have 4 swarms. That's not that easy to beat. Right, they're probably going Modok into 4 swarms and Chavez. We beat that. Darkhawk is gonna be 8. I don't think I'm snapping back here. I think we're slightly behind. Oh, never mind. They're not going Chavez. They're going 16 power Apocalypse. We kind of need Shang. I'm pretty sure we just win. 2 swarms here. They're at 10 power total. We're at 13. I mean, to be fair, we were 1 out of 3 to draw Shang. It was a calculated play to your odds kind of thing. Now the real question is, do we snap back? I think we do. I honestly think we go for a boomer snap here. Because this looks so good for our opponent. Like, they must think that they're miles ahead. So let the timer run very low. And I go for a value snap on turn 6. Show me what you got, Habibi. Booyah! Okay, I think this game was brilliantly played. And I'm pretty sure we're hitting infinite off this. Well, GG's. That's a bit of the issue with this card, is that sometimes it's too predictable. It's too easy to read. Oh, yes. That felt deserved. These queues might be much longer all of a sudden. The Storm X. Okay, whenever New York pops up as a location, it's generally better to play into the other 2 locations. Because that will give us full flexibility over whether or not to move to New York and what to move. And it's much harder for our opponent to read us. Post replacement, Nebula, Sunspot, Jeff. Okay, we see Daredevil and Enchantress. This could be the Dara deck. That I'm also gonna post a video on today, by the way. A Guardian's location control deck. I think I'm playing Zabu here.
Wind, aid my
Now they have priority, I can go Enchantress, Darkhawk. Fairly sure we could snap this. I could also keep Enchantress to break up their Professor X next turn. Although, snapping is a bit sus because of Elysium. Their Professor X only costs 4. Wait, they can Gamora now. Isn't this straight up better? I don't know about the snap. If it's that deck, it also runs Magneto. We might lose the flooded location after all. But not if we fill up the other 2. Star-Lord, okay. It's a bit overcommitted on the left then.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
So if they Prof X, they only have the middle location. The tricky one to navigate here. Even though I know which deck my opponent is playing, it's really hard. Like with Elysium, it's very tough to say what place they go for. because they can do different combos than in a standard game. There's the Magneto. Can I have a Rock Slide, please? That is the worst boomer snap of all time. Like, why would you do this? Like, sometimes I look at people's snapping behavior and I'm generally surprised that they hit infinite. Oh, a rematch, nice. So this is better for our opponent than for us. We gotta try to make use of this quickly before they pull a random Professor X or something like that.
Enchantress.
I think we want Zabu to stay around. Morons. I'm not sure how to say your name, but thank you so much for the prime. Appreciate the support. Pretty sure I'm shuffling Miles in here just for the energy efficiency. Although there aren't a lot of great pulls that we can get. I could shuffle Shang in, actually. Nah, I don't really like it. You know what? Knowing that Storm might be coming up, maybe it's better to just play Miles to the right.
Wind, aid my hand.
Our deck is very vulnerable to Magneto, unfortunately. But our opponent's gonna have to play Magneto left in this case. Is this good enough to warrant a snap? Thing is, they can also just Spider-Man right this turn. Okay. I think we just win. The thing is, if they have Gamora right and they move Jeff over there, I don't think I can snap here. I just write it out for 2 cubes. Okay. Arrow. Okay. They are playing some interesting tech choices. Only 1 card left in hand. So let's see. We want to play Darkhawk first so we have the chance of draw him back out again. Oh, I'm so gonna BM this player if we win. Seriously? Well, I guess it was a 50-50. They played Magneto into Quantum Tunnel and won. This is so sad. Oh!
Victory.
For those of you who just tuned in, this person Giga BM'd us last game. After, like... Like, sometimes I look at people's snapping behavior and I'm generally surprised that they hit infinite. Hitting us with a boomer snap and only winning 2 cubes when they could have easily won 4 or 8. Feels good to get some revenge. And if they don't have Cerebro, there's a good chance that they run. Oh, it's a toxic player again. Unfortunately, it's a bad matchup for us. Assuming they're still playing the same deck. Gotta be wary of this. My opponent can preemptively cancel it with Storm. Armor, so it could still be that same deck. I should have moved Nightcrawler, I think. And then again, I can wait a bit. Okay, I can hit them with a surprise Enchantress Shang Chi on the final turn.
Got him.
What's up, Bootman? Yeah, I saw Ghost on Twitter, I just had to try it. Okay, this is the Professor X turn. Unfortunately, we can't cover all 3 locations. Which one would be most satisfied to give up? None really. To me, this just feels like Stature right side. Could even move Nightcrawler to the left. Just to make space and discount miles. I'll wait for that. The next turn. They didn't snap. What the hell? If they storm this game, like this turn, we probably win. Because they only have 3 energy left to try to flip one of the other 2 locations. It's really hard for them to do.
Wind, aid my hand.
Okay, so we gotta assume they play into the right side. We have priority here though. Enchantress Shang doesn't really work. Thing is, middle we lose to Magneto by 1. We do this, we would beat Magneto right side, but they still have 1 energy left over, but we did hit Rocket Raccoon. Also the thing is, if our opponent is an emote spammer, there's a fair chance they're stream sniping. Thinking Gamora. We already saw almost all of their 2-drops, I guess. Too bad we didn't find Ghost earlier. That would make things much easier. Pretty sure this is the best play. Easy game. Oh, it's so satisfying to beat this person.
Victory.
Ooh, Terra is already awake. Brazil gamer. Who could you swap Stature for? If you do that, you want to swap both Stature and Black Bolt. At that point, you might as well run a Sarah deck. Sarah control. Can they play into Sandbar? I don't think so. Unless they play something like Doctor Doom or Claw. I could have probably snapped on turn 1 if I would have clicked on my opponent's icon and seen that they play Thanos, just because Darkhawk is so good against Thanos. Then again, since we don't know which Thanos version they're playing, there's a chance they have Doom, they have Claw, they have some random Professor X locked on. And can't get out of 70. I only have Doomwave and Electrosand as my meta options. I'll be quite honest, both of those decks are good enough that you... Oh, Blue Marvel. If they find Blue Marvel, they get middle for free. But Shang Chi left is going to be pretty good, especially hidden behind Ghost. If they pull anything big, we'll snipe it out. Yeah, with Doomwave, it's definitely possible to hit Infinite if you play the deck well enough. Like, no question about it. I'm surprised they're not making full use of Lockjaw. I guess they want to play a Stone or a Rock and Blue Marvel here to guarantee that Blue Marvel sticks around. Which means we have a chance to pull this rock out of the sandbar again. Also, in this situation, Ghost is incredibly good because it hides our Darkhawk from like Enchantress or Shang or whatever. Okay, so far my read is on fleek. I'm fairly sure this is going to be Blue Marvel, the way that Terra's been playing so far. What? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. The Valkyrie was randomly pulled. Yeah, okay. Like anything that plays Storm or Movement Synergy or Prof X would want to have Jeff. But he's only slightly better than most of the other options, so it's not really worth to spend 6k tokens on him. But it puts those into a big advantage that can continuously spend 6k tokens. We pick up Stature, Modok, or Hitmonkey. Stature. Right now, Stature. What's your take on Doomwave? I feel like I'm not using the right cards. I think we actually shuffle Rock Slide in our deck and then try to pull him back out again. Hulkbuster. If they're playing Hulkbuster, I think we can snap this. Iron Fist, Hulkbuster, sure. I mean, Doomwave, just look up any list on the internet. It doesn't really matter that much. Like, all tech choices are fine. It's more about piloting the deck well and then snapping and retreating well. Doesn't matter that much which cards you're playing. Unlucky. I think I want to shuffle Nightcrawler in first because we don't mind pulling him back out. Right, if the Korg gets shuffled in and pulls Nightcrawler, we're fine with it. Okay, that's a big vulture. That just means we have a good Shang Chi target. Aha. So Shang is... Okay, immediately rewarded. And we found out that Shang is the cheapest card in their hand. So they for sure have like Heimdall in hand. Probably moving Vulture over. So we do something like this. And keep the left open for Shang. Jimmy! Okay, still though, aren't we fine? The Darkhawk would actually make us win. We're 1 out of 3 to pull Darkhawk. Question is, are we going for Darkhawk or are we just... They're not beating 11 in the middle. They're also not really beating this, are they? Ah, but this pulls Cloak. Let's go RNG. Oh, it's Magneto. Wait. Magneto we might beat. No! Never lucky. Darkhawk would have won. GG's. It was the correct decision to stay in this though. We're gonna win a third of the time. But we're only investing 4 cubes to win 16. So we only need to win a quarter of the time to break even. So on average, we're winning... Ooh. I mean, we don't know what our opponent is playing, but our opening hand is okay, and we have Shang against their monster. So on average, we'll be far favored here. Sentinels. We're either up against Sarah, which means Ghost is amazing, or we're up against Dino. Okay, awkward. Do we play into the middle? I think we do. It's not good against Dino though. Okay. What we can do here is predict the Dino and just play Shang middle. And if it doesn't work out, we run. This is an MLG level no scope. Enchantress is better here though against the Dino. Because that means we still have Shang for the left side. Get wrecked. Watch them retreat right away. Okay, now here's a little issue. If we play Black Bolt now... Okay, never mind. We don't even have to worry about it. This would have been interesting. We have priority. We know they have our Black Bolt. Actually, no, never mind. Ghost gives them priority. Because I was afraid that if we play Black Bolt, they play Black Bolt, our Stature gets discarded. But Ghost would have saved us here. Ah, Ghost actually does stuff. Thing is, there would be a ways to open a Series 4 card that's gonna drop soon. That's why I have doubts about what to do. Yeah, that is a good point. If that's your main worry, then you should be waiting. The thing is, like I said, there's a drop every month, and we're currently like halfway through to the next drop, more or less. Limbo. Is that good or bad for us? Too early to say. I think Zabu goes middle here in case this gets stormed later on. We already want some power there. I don't think this is good for us. We don't have enough big cards in our hand. We don't have enough value in our hand. Is Sarah version of this deck better? There is no real Sarah version of this. That's an early Spider-Man. That's a bit weird. So my opponent plays Spider-Man in their deck. They could be something like Galactus. Ooh, Hobgobbers. Again, I'm hesitant to snap here because it is looking good for us, but there are still 2 turns left to go and we ran out of resources in hand. So, like, unless we know we draw big cards back to back, I'm not sure if this is that favorable for us. That's a small Ronin. Okay, I think it is looking good for us. Our opponent kind of bricked themselves here with the wave. I mean, let's pull them into the location that we're pretty certain to win. Like we're winning all 3 here. What, Doom and She-Hulk? She-Hulk gets moved, we still win. Did get close though. Our opponent had some very, very strong opening hand cards. They had Wave and the Doom and She-Hulk combo before District X turned their deck into nonsense. All GG's.